My name is Mark Kolpak. I'm the Visual Effects Supervisor of Heroes, and I work out of Stargate Digital. Visual effects is a craft that creates the illusion of a different time of setting, background that can't be created in camera. The difference, let's just say, between special effects and visual effects, or special effects are things like atmosphere, rain, fire, smoke, those types of items that is created live on set.
Take a breath. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay.
Visual effects deals with things that are created sort of post-fact. You know, we put the things together. We'll shoot a blue screen element of an actor, and then we have to put the background in, and then depending upon what else goes on in there, if he flies, you got to add, you know, motion blur, and he jumps, and you know, all that kind of really fun stuff. So visual effects are things that are created after the shoot, so to speak. What's really cool is that you have all these different heroes, they all have different abilities, and they all do different things.
漫画の制作者、未来の警告を伝えようとしたんだけど、必ず切られるんだよ。
お前が刑事だからだよ。できたら俺もそうするよ。
あ、ここだ。制服姿の少女が暴走トラックの前に飛び出す。それを俺たちが阻止するシナリオ。な。
どうやってその子探すんだ。
Well, one of the great scenes that stand out to me in terms of visual effects is definitely the Tokyo street scene where Hiro saves the red ribbon hair girl, because it's one of the iconic scenes where Hiro stops time for the first time.
I'm here with Tony Ocampo, who is another 3D artist here at Stargate, whose responsibility it was to create the objects that we see in the Tokyo Street freeze time scene. So basically, in this scene, the objective was Hiro and Ando are trying to save this girl with a red bow.
Okay. どの子だ?
And what transpires is a car or a truck here goes out of control, and our little girl is right in the path of this truck. And basically, Hiro has to make a snap judgment decision, and he freezes time right when the truck is going through the actual toys, which this robot in the box and some other shipping boxes, and he freezes that time, and then of course everything else created that's in the air is done by Tony Ocampo.
The first thing we had to do was to build the 3D objects that were frozen in midair. The second thing we had to do was to match the camera move of the real camera and translate that into our 3D camera so that we can place our 3D objects where they're supposed to be.
Okay, I think he wants me to actually say, I'm going this way, that way. So you want us to say that, right? I go this way, you go that way. Yes. What we would do is we would roll, and then, you know, Greg Beeman, our director, will say, okay, everyone, take a deep breath, and hold it, action! And then I would just like walk around pretending, you know, everyone's still, and, you know, trying to bump into things and duck things that are in midair. And it's a lot of fun, you know, for me at least, you know, because I don't have to hold still. But I'm sure it was a pain for a lot of the other actors.
I'm sitting here with Ryan Weaver, who is another 2D artist who works on Heroes. He's responsible for compositing all of the elements for the Tokyo Street freeze time sequence.
The people weren't just holding still, there was also some rigging involved to support them, to keep them in poses. Like, for instance, there's a guy in the background here who is jumping away from this car which is plowing through this table full of cardboard boxes and robots. And he's flying away, so he was suspended on wires. The first task is to remove that rigging so that it will look like these people are just in these poses and held in place by frozen time. And the other aspect is incorporating the 3D elements from Tony down in the 3D department and incorporating those into the footage, which is a little bit complex. The first thing we do is track the shot, because we need the 3D elements to move precisely with the rest of the footage. I did a lot of small things like adding grain onto it to match the grain in the footage, subtle focus effects, because even though it's not a big rack focus shot, there's still very subtle things. All these very small touches to make sure that the 3D stuff that's incorporated looks 100% as real as the rest of the shot, and will just play out as if we really filmed it somehow.
Masi and I share a unique bond in that Masi used to work at ILM.
At ILM, I was a lead research and development technical director, which means I was programming. So we would come up with, production would need a specific need for a shot or a sequence, and they say, hey, we need to, blow up a hero asteroid into a million pieces. We don't have the technology. Can you do it? So I say, sure. So I'll do the research and I'll write the program that'll crack the asteroid in a million pieces, and then take it to production, and then teach the artists how to use it. So all they have to do is punch numbers and set things up, and then they'll get the image they want.
And background. Action. When I heard that, of course, he was a former ILM talent. It was a very funny thing for us to actually communicate and talk on a level that you don't usually get to talk to with actors, because they just don't have that background. Some of them have been in a lot of visual effects movies and have a very good understanding of visual effects, but not to the level that Masi has. So we'll end up talking on stuff like that. And there was even one scene where we were shooting down in the museum, and I had the green screen up, and so we had this kind of thing, and it was late. We were working nights, so it was, everyone's kind of tired and everything, and so Masi comes up to me and says, Mark, you sure you want to do it this way, and will that work okay for you when I come around and, with the green, and I said, yeah, I said, because your mat will come this way. He says, oh, okay, so you're going to reverse the hierarchy of the mat structure. Okay, I got it. All right, so that's good, and so he's okay, and he went back and took his mark, and there we went. So it's kind of funny, because you don't, as a supervisor, you don't often get that kind of conversation from an actor who actually understands it that intimately.
We are both special. I'm an actor on this show, I'm just there to be a supportive collaborator, and so I just follow. I'm just a lemming. They do an amazing job, so I just fit in where I can.
3, 2, 1.
If we do our visual effects job well, the fans don't really pick up on anything that we've done. And I think what's really cool is that if you look at any of the fan sites or people conversing about the show, is that they always just talk about the show. The visual effects rarely ever even mention, which means we're doing our job correctly, because it just fits within the character, the story structure, the emotion of what's going on in a particular scene. So it's not distracting, which is what you never want to be. You never want to be distracting. You want to help suspend that disbelief. And if we do our jobs well enough, then of course the shots play really well and they become invisible.